Hello, everybody. I am Sirhajwan, and along with me is my colleague Sydney. We are from Sabah, Malaysia. So for those who are from Sabah, those who are from Malaysia, and those who are from Asia, and of course everyone from every part of the world, we welcome you. So drama script is a tool in language practice. We are focusing on drama script. I think we are very familiar with drama. And the script itself is very important in drama. And for our presentation, we'll narrow it down to 3 types of performing arts. That's radio play, monologue, and pantomime. But before we start, I'd like to talk about this Dao Dao project. What is this? What we are presenting is a part of Dao Dao project. It's the project that has been awarded with 2021 Simon Greenell Award, in which one of the sponsors is Macmillan Education. Now, the purpose of this project is for us to train our students, or to guide them to become artists, performers, and writers. You name it: drama, storytelling, poetry, writing poems, writing short stories, and doing paintings, all sort of things. So the goal of this award, Simon Greenell Award, is to bring people together through English language activities. Nothing brings us better than arts itself, because art is everyone is an artist. So what you see here are the screenshots about some of our students' work: puppet show, literature theater, animated towels. But the good thing about it is that I'm not going to talk about this. We're going to talk about something completely different. When we talk about drama, the first thing that comes in people's mind, especially for Malaysian teachers, I believe, is that we see people on stage, they are acting, they are speaking their dialogues, they are interacting with each other in costumes, with props. And yeah, that's drama, and that's good. But what we're going to do today is that we're going to explore alternatives, other ways of how we can use drama scripts. And they might not be that popular, particularly not in Malaysia. So we are looking into monologue, in which a speech presented by a single character. Because usually when it comes to drama, there are always like the few characters interacting with each other. But monologue it's delivered by one person. And radio play, so that is a radio play. It's very unique because, well, just like radio, there's no visual. So since there's no visual, the focus is on sound, voices, and music, with no visual at all. So that's very interesting, because I know visual has been also a very important part of drama. And the last one is pantomime, or should I say mime. Now, pantomime is the opposite of radio play. If radio play, there's no visual, it's all sounds, voices, and music. Pantomime is a silent art. There's no sound, there's no oral speech. It's all about gesture, facial expression, and movement. So, so we are looking at very different ways of how we can utilize drama scripts in teaching, in English language teaching and learning. So radio play, or we call it radio drama. It's purely acoustic performance, no visual. So when people do radio drama, they really have to focus on delivering the dialogues in a variety of vocal expressions. They need to have sound effects, they need to have music, so that the listeners, the audience, or should I say the listeners, can really listen to it and they understand the story, they can imagine it, because they have to depend on their imagination. There's no visual to look at. Now, although, so when we do radio play, we need to make sure that the auditory part of it, the audio, is just as powerful, as impactful as visual. So that, that's what radio play is all about. And it's very interesting, and it can be very challenging at the same time. So what we like to do is that we usually like to play our students' work, since it's very, I think it's more practical to play our students' work. So here we have 2 snippets of radio plays done by our students. The first one, it's called Something Fishy, and the second one is Christmas Miracle. So I'm going to play the video. There is no visual, so you just have to listen to it. And I hope, let me know if you can't hear it, just in case, I forgot to do something.
What's going on over here? Why haven't you finished cleaning?
The tiger fish is gone.
Could it be possible that we ate the fish?
Oh no, you mean the fish is inside our tummy now?
Our boss' favorite fish? She will cut us in halves.
Well, maybe we can still try to get a new tiger fish and put it in there so she might not notice it.
So that's something fishy. When you listen to it, you probably know it took place at a restaurant and the conversation was between the restaurant workers. So let's listen to the second one, Christmas Miracle.
But Belle, you are my most beloved item.
Which is why you need to give me away.
I need to make sure that the person who receives you loves you the way I do.
Person is, you see her every time you get back from school.
So that's Christmas Miracle. It's about a girl who didn't want to part with her beloved doll. So that's what radio plays are. It's not visual. So you really have to listen to it. And of course, the challenge is for the students to really like act it out, focus on their vocal expression. It's acting, but vocal acting or voice acting. And what try doing your own radio play, we always do, it's always good to do exercise. So what we do, there's this website, it's called Drama Notebook website, and there are many sample scripts on radio play on that website. So we use that on Google Meet. During our virtual class, schools in Malaysia were closed. So we had our class online on virtual platform, and in Malaysia, we use Google Meet. So the students were practicing on Google Meet. And it's one way, it just to show that this kind of activities, whether it's a physical, whether you are being at a physical environment at school, or whether the students are at home learning through online, you can also do this kind of activity. Right? So the thing about radio play, it's a good exercise because the students, especially in Malaysia, we usually depend on visuals. Some props, some costumes, some backdrops, and then facial expressions. Everything that you do, your movements to convey a meaning. That sometimes people don't really focus much on the vocal anymore, on their voices, on how they speak, because just by looking at it, people can understand what is happening. But with radio play, it really helps the students to really focus on their voice because they have to depend on it. The voice is the only weapon. They have to learn how to project their voice. They have to learn diction. They have to speak in pace. They have to be able to convey emotions when they are speaking. Okay, which usually Malaysian students or Asian students in general, they tend to be very timid. So you can't really tell, when they speak, they tend to be very monotonous and so on. So this is a good exercise for them. It's definitely a good exercise for our students. And of course, the thing about radio play is a good exercise since, you don't get people to come to the front and perform, whether it's a theater or public speaking. So here, there's no pressure of doing that. So they can really just focus on improving their acting skills through their voices, which I think is very important. Oh, there was a, but I didn't know. Okay, Calvin.
I taught myself to play the drum just this afternoon. I'm getting pretty good. Don't you think?
Joseph! Joseph!
Mary, what is it? Are you okay?
The drum voice. This is very good player.
What in the world is going on?
I'm playing my drum for the baby. I think he's like.
So this was the first time the students were introduced to radio play on our virtual classroom. So they were trying to get some sounds, the right sounds that they can include in the practice. And I told them for the purpose of this practice, we are going to turn off our camera so that we can really focus on our voices. So these were our students, they were writing the script. So you could see ways of doing it. One team was doing it on virtual platform, Google Meet, and the other one was doing it in the physical classroom. So there are a few things that we have to consider when it comes to radio play. Keep in mind, the focus is on sound, music, and vocal. Sound is your weapon. Setting, of course, time, place, and culture. You have to consider whether it's centuries ago, whether it's the present day, or whether it's in the 60s or 80s. Because those will influence the theater itself. You're not going to have like a Ariana Grande song if your story took place in the 80s. And of course, place, if it's a restaurant, whether it's a train station, because that will influence, again, the sounds, effects, or maybe the music that you will choose to include in that radio play. And of course, culture is always an important part of it. And the characters, we realize that it's important to really focus on the characters, like who they are and what is their relationship, or what are their relationships. That will influence how they speak to each other. Again, radio play, they really need to understand, they really need to deliver the right vocal expression. So, if it's like at a workplace, a subordinate, a worker will speak in a slower way to the superior, or a child, just a little child, can speak in an angry outburst to their parents. So something like that. It's very important to understand. When we were doing the script, we realized that we really had to pay attention to this aspect. And of course, storyline. If you're doing a mystery, you might want to have a mysterious music. If you're doing a fantasy, it might be something like a Disney. And if it's a sports drama, crowd cheering, sports commentary. So it's very interesting as well when you look at the storyline and the sound effects and the music. So every single sound effect matters. Like the sounds that we make on our surrounding, like when we slam the door. So you need to get that sound into it. How are we going to get that sound effect slamming the door? And when you are doing the dishes, so you need to have that sound, water gushing from the tap, and clinking of the plates. And then, or maybe our own actions, like when we are sneezing, when we are munching, when we are gasping for air. So all these kind of things, they really matter to really create that intended context so that the listeners can understand, oh, what's happening? Oh, he's tired, or he's sneezing, all these sort of things. So I'm going to play this audio. Since no visual, so it's very important to include the sound and music. So let's just play it.
Are you joining the party tonight?
Are you kidding me? I'm the one who is in charge. You better be there.
So, what's the menu for tonight?
Let me think first. Aha! How about sea bass fillet with prawn? I will put in our signature sauce.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that.
Ashraf, could you get us some apple juice?
Of course, why not?
So, yeah, you could hear the sound of the plates and so on. So let's look at let's listen to the second recording.
Mom, I don't want to throw Belle away. Please don't make me throw Belle away.
You are too old to play with Belle, honey.
But Belle is my only friend.
Arita, you need to make actual friends at school. A doll can't be your friend.
So obviously that's so yeah.
Stop crying, Arita. Christmas Eve is the time for you to be happy.
Who's that?
It's me.
Okay. So you can tell that was you can tell where it happened and when it happened. That happened during Christmas. Christmas Eve, and you could hear the door slamming, and then she was crying. All these sounds and music, they didn't matter to again create the context that you want the students to imagine, that you want listeners to imagine. And of course, a vocal practicing variety of vocal intonations, and for them to be able to deliver emotions just through their voices. Because usually when it comes to acting, we focus on our expression, look angry, look sad, look happy. But with radio play, they can't do that. There's no visual, so they really have to deliver it with their voices. Against the voice is their weapon. That's what I told them.
Guys, the tiger fish is missing.
What?
How can it be possible?
Oh, wait. Just earlier, I saw Lester was standing in front of the aquarium while talking on the phone.
Are you accusing me for having something to do with this missing fish? I don't even like fish.
Well, yeah, because you were the only one who came near the aquarium while the rest of us were eating outside at the dining table. I know you have been in some exotic product business. Perhaps tiger fish is in the market now.
Or maybe you did it. I know you have been experimenting with some new recipe with your donut, and so far it didn't work out so well. Guess fish is your new flavor.
Or maybe it's Aini who stole the fish.
Wait, what? Why me?
Well, I overheard you telling someone.
Okay, so you can tell in that particular part of that radio play, there were emotions being involved. They were surprised, and then they were being suspicious, and they were being scared.
Mom, do you still have some cookies left?
Yep, I just baked a new batch.
Let's visit our neighbor and give them some.
That's the Christmas spirit. Let's go.
So
It's so nice for you guys to visit us tonight. The cookies are so delicious. I really like them.
So yeah.
I'm glad you love them. There's something else I want to give.
Okay, so yeah, during when they were practicing, we told them, it's Christmas, so people usually, kids especially, they must be very happy. So be happy when you're speaking, when you're doing it. So this is a sample of the original script that we did, that the students did. So you could see here, we highlighted the sound effects, like washing dishes, people eating and drinking, phone ringing. So these are the things that we need to really get the right sound effects and put it into the play. And one thing that we notice is that it's very helpful when we pay attention to functions of languages, or functional language, like requesting, when people request something, when people are asking questions, when people are confirming something, because we notice that it really influences the vocal expression that they're going to be doing. So the next one is monologue, and I'll pass the floor to my colleague, Sydney. She will be presenting that part.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Sirhajwan. All right, next we move to monologue. We usually picture actors verbalizing their scripts to each other during the play, but monologues depart from that, as it is a part of a speech or a script that is delivered by a single character without any direct verbal or visual interaction with other characters. A monologue can either be dramatic or comedic. If it's comedic, it is typically funny. And if it's dramatic, it's full of emotions. Okay, next. Okay, so let's listen to a monologue delivered by one of our students during school closure last year. During the lesson, each student was assigned with different monologue. The monologues were taken from Drama Notebook website. There are all sorts of monologues from various fictional characters inspired from many genres like fantasy, science fiction, and drama. Okay, let's play it. Let's play the video, shall we?
Mom, I swear, I wouldn't eat the rest of Mason's Halloween candy. But you see, I did happen to see who did it. It was the Invisible Man. Yep, invisible to adults. But I saw him. He climbed onto the counter and got out Mason's candy. Then he ate all of it. And he didn't even clean up after himself. No, that's not chocolate on my face. It's dirt. Yeah, I was playing in the mud. But you know what else? The Invisible Man is also the one who knocked Mason's tooth when they were play fighting. And the Invisible Man got Play-Doh stuck in Mason's toothbrush to brush the dog teeth and broke the lamp. And he even accidentally lit the curtains on fire. He's the one who broke the window and put a tack in the car tire and tore the... What? Why are you putting me in timeout? It was the Invisible Man. And I didn't do it. All right. Thanks.
Next slide.
Yes, next slide, please. Okay. Yeah, this was one of our students who wrote her own monologue, and she performed it on the beach since the character was a sea princess. It was based on a Malay folktale, Ulek Mayang. She wrote it from the perspective of the sea princess, which was often seen as the villain of the tale, and she turned it into humor, which deviated from the story's serious tone. So let's listen together, shall we?
Hey, I didn't kidnap him. Everyone assume I did and make me the villain. Is it because I'm not from your world? Is it wrong to fall in love with someone who does not live in the same universe as yours? Is it love blind and has no barriers? Let me tell you something. Originally want to ask him for a date. Yeah, you know, I feel very lonely down there. Yes, I'm a princess. Everyone listen to my order, but everyone was so overprotective that I feel like I had no life. My family didn't even have time for me. I had no one to talk. But this young man, I saw him saving a marine life that was stuck with human trash. I know he was a good man, and I wanted to know him more. Yeah, I know it's almost impossible to be with him since we are from different species, but at least we can be friends, right?
So that was one of our students. Okay, there are several aspects that we should look into when writing a monologue script. We first need to decide on the character, since a monologue is written from the perspective of the character. We then create a context for the character. Is the character in a battlefield, embarking on a journey, finding true love, or facing a family conflict? We also have to delve deep into the character's emotions and thoughts. For example, is the character happy, sad, confused, or angry? And what thoughts that run in his or her own mind? Okay, so we also need to deliver the monologue either in a dramatic way or in a comedic style. We can always base it on a certain reference like folklore, history, or current social issues. Next. Okay, so let's listen to a monologue performed by our student. They were doing this in group with different characters. And this student specifically focused on deforestation. She was in her school uniform and she did this in our school. So let's play.
I'm Lana Liv, the defender of the trees and rainforest. I'm doing my best, but it's you who should do the rest. Trees are cut at alarming rates, sending our lives towards a gloomy fate. Landslides, flash floods, habitat loss will prevail, and prevention efforts will be to no avail. What a calamity! That's us, the future society. We tell you again and again, go paperless. Keep everything electronically. E-books, emails, and above all, e-papers. There's no need to cut trees. And see, there's not so much mess.
All right. So yeah, a monologue can also be an adapted version of an existing script, like a historical speech. Okay, this student of ours was doing a reading practice on a monologue through Google Meet. The monologue was an adapted version of a famous speech by an African-American woman who was once a slave, and she talked about women's rights in the early 1800s. So let's play it.
Okay. Am I not a woman? Well, children, the men have been talking about women's rights, but here we are, still enduring the agonizing ordeal of being a woman in a world where men decide on everything while women remain helpless. That man's brother says that women need to be helped to carry heavy burdens and lifted over when they fall, and to have the best place everywhere. Nobody ever helps me to carry my baggage or offer me hands when I am down in the drain, or give me the space I deserve for the labor I have made. Am I not a woman? Look at me. Look at my arms. I have plugged and planted and looked after the entire farm. No man could ever even no man could even do. Yet no one has ever acknowledged my capabilities. Am I not a woman? I could work as much as a man when I could get it and bear the lash as well. Not a woman. I have been tirelessly harvesting crops and sold them off for a much cheaper price. And when I cried out for the misery I have to endure, am I not a woman? Then they talk about this thing in the head. What's this they call? Intelligence. That's it, sweetie. What's that got to do with women's rights? If my cup won't hold but a pen, and yours hold a quart, wouldn't you be mean not to let me have my little half measure full? Then that little man dressed in the expensive suit there, he says, women can't have as much right as men, because none of the famous historical figures were women. Where did these men come from? Where did these men come from? From women. If the first woman in the world was strong enough to turn the world upside down, all alone, these women together ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again. And now, they are asking to do it. The men to treat them better, to do better for them, and to let them do their best. Obliged to to you for hearing me. With that, I urge us all, regardless of our gender identities, to do better for the woman in this world.
Okay, so the last one that we will look into is pantomime or mime. It is a form of silent performing art that involves acting or communicating using only movement, gestures, and facial expressions with no speech or sound. It is, however, important not to confuse mime or pantomime with the British version of pantomime, which is a theater with specific criteria like cross-dressing and interacting with audience. Okay, next. So this was our student writing their script for pantomime on Google Meet. Next. This was the script that our student did for their mime performance. Since pantomime or mime only involve facial expressions, movements, and gestures with no sound or speech, we had to meticulously choose the verbs and the adjectives that the actors could really portray through the expressions and movements. We also put a lot of action verb in it as well. Next. Okay, this was our student rehearsing their mime performance. So let's watch it. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of our presentation. We would like to recap what we have presented. There are many ways drama scripts can be used in our English language education, and it is good to explore the alternatives like monologue, radio play, and mime, which can provide the students different experience on how they can improve their language skills. So yes, that's the end. Thank you.